Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we take a deep dive into all sorts of fascinating topics.
Typically, we pull together a whole stack of sources. Could be books, articles, interviews, you name it.
And today, we're really excited to be diving into a true classic of cyberpunk literature, William Gibson's Mona Lisa Overdrive.
Yeah, this is the final installment in his Sprawl Trilogy, which started with Neuromancer and then Count Zero.
Now, don't worry if you haven't read the first two books.
Yeah, Mona Lisa Overdrive definitely stands on its own.
It throws you right into this future world, this world where technology has completely reshaped society. I mean, just think advanced AI, powerful mega corporations, and the line between reality and cyberspace is, it's practically non-existent.
And Gibson's vision is, it's both captivating and kind of unsettling.
Yeah, he really makes you think about the implications of our own obsession with technology.
And the thing is, Gibson's writing, it's been praised by, everyone. Reviewers have used words like clean and quick to describe his style, which is, not something you typically associate with cyberpunk, right?
Yeah, it's a genre known for, dense descriptions and kind of a gritty atmosphere.
Exactly.
But Gibson, he manages to convey all that complexity, all that grittiness in a way that's just, it's incredibly readable.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that makes this book, so captivating.
Now, let's talk about the characters, because Mona Lisa Overdrive is packed with these really vivid personalities who are all trying to find their place in this crazy future.
Yeah, and each character, they kind of represent a different facet of this world that Gibson's created. Like, we've got Kumiko.
Right, Kumiko. She's a young Japanese girl whose life changes completely when her father sends her from Tokyo to London.
And there's this air of mystery surrounding her. Like, why is she sent away? What's waiting for her in London? And it turns out she ends up in the care of this really peculiar Englishman named Petal.
Petal. Yeah, Gibson describes him as this, towering figure draped in these, elephantine folds of dark wool.
Not your typical guardian figure.
No, not at all.
And then we've got Mona. She's streetwise. She's resourceful. She's trying to make it in the underbelly of society, starting in Cleveland.
We follow her as she's pulled from, the familiar streets of her hometown to, the completely unknown landscapes of Florida.
And she eventually ends up in New York City, this bustling metropolis.
And Mona, she's got this, hidden yearning for something more, something beyond just survival.
Yeah, she's not just content to scrape by.
Exactly.
And then there's Angie.
Angie, now she's a celebrity battling addiction and, the pressures of fame.
She's trying to escape the relentless scrutiny of the public eye, so she checks herself into this, this very exclusive celebrity detox facility.
Right, but even in rehab, she can't quite escape the things that haunt her.
Yeah, Gibson doesn't shy away from depicting the dark side of fame, and Angie's story really highlights that.
And woven through all these different narratives is this device, this object of immense power and mystery, the Aleph.
The Aleph, yeah. It's a tribe that's capable of holding vast amounts of data, like potentially entire worlds within its depths.
There's almost like a universe contained within this small device.
Exactly. And the Aleph, it embodies this limitless potential, but also this inherent danger of technology that's kind of unchecked.
Yeah, what happens when we start playing God with information.
Exactly. And of course, various factions are after this device, including this really shadowy organization known as Continuity.
Continuity, yeah, they add this whole other layer of intrigue and danger to the plot.
They're willing to do whatever it takes to get their hands on the Aleph.
And so we've got these compelling characters, this incredible technology, and this looming sense of danger. And that's just the beginning of Mona Lisa Overdrive.
And that's where we'll pick up in part 2 of our deep dive. Welcome back to the deep dive.
Now, as we dig deeper into Mona Lisa Overdrive, you start to see how Gibson connects these characters, these individual stories.
Right, their struggles become intertwined with the larger forces at play in this future.
Exactly. And one of the things that really stood out to me was, remember Kumiko, she's staying with Petal in London.
Yeah, and those seemingly normal Victorian townhouses.
But Gibson throws in this tiny detail that just completely changes how you see that whole setting.
Oh, yeah. He mentions that the front door of number 16, it's made of 20 inches of ferroconcrete.
Right. It's wait, what?
Totally. It's this tiny little thing, but it speaks volumes about the level of paranoia in this world.
like even in a place that's supposed to be safe, there's this constant sense of danger lurking beneath the surface.
Right, and later on we find out that that doorknob, it has a scanner in it, it reads Petal's palm print to let him in.
It's like nobody trusts anybody.
Yeah, and that feeling of unease, it runs through the entire book, especially with Slick Henry.
Oh, Slick. Yeah, he's a fascinating character.
Yeah, he's this brilliant mechanic, but he's also former prisoner.
And he embodies this whole underclass, these people who are, well, they're often exploited by the very technology that Gibson's exploring.
Exactly, like he has this incredible talent for building these complex robots.
But he's haunted by the effects of this memory-altering drug that they used on him in prison.
Yeah, Gibson calls it induced Korsakoffs.
Chilling.
Totally. I mean, it's this brutal reminder of how technology can be used to control people, to dehumanize them.
And Slick has these gaps in his memory. He calls it a memory stutter.
Yeah, he's constantly struggling to piece together his own identity, like who he is, what he's done.
And Slick isn't the only one struggling with the darker side of technology, right?
Yeah.
Angie, the celebrity we talked about earlier.
Oh, right, Angie. She's battling those designer drugs.
They're not just your average narcotics. They're specifically engineered to create this total dependence.
Yeah, and they alter perceptions. It's like a terrifying example of how technology can be used to exploit our vulnerabilities, the things that make us human.
And there's this one scene that's really stuck with me. Angie's in her like luxurious Malibu beach house.
Oh yeah.
And she's fighting this overwhelming urge to use, and Gibson describes it in such a cold, clinical way.
Like she's just going through the motions, almost like a machine herself.
It's chilling because even with all her wealth, all her privilege, she's powerless against these engineered substances.
It's a stark reminder that in this future, control can be exerted in ways we might not even realize it's happening.
And that theme of control, it's really central to the whole novel, right? We
Yeah.
see it with Continuity, the organization that's obsessed with the LF.
Yeah, their motives, they're still kind of shrouded in mystery, but their methods are, they're ruthless.
They'll do anything to get their hands on that device.
Violence, kidnapping, they don't hesitate.
And their reach extends beyond the physical world, right? They can manipulate events in cyberspace.
Yeah, and that's where Gibson really starts to blur the lines between reality and simulation.
He introduces us to cyberspace, this digital realm where data takes on like a tangible form, a landscape made of pure information.
It's visually stunning. Just conceptually mind-blowing. It's alluring and terrifying all at the same time.
But navigating cyberspace, it requires, specialized skills and technology.
Yeah, it's not something just anyone can do.
There's this scene where Angie, she's desperate, she's trying to escape into the digital realm, and she's using this simple Ono-Sendai deck.
Basically like a basic interface for accessing cyberspace.
Right, but she's completely overwhelmed. Gibson describes it as like a colorless wall of sensory static.
Like hitting a brick wall, but with information overload.
Yeah, exactly. And it shows that even in this disembodied realm, human limitations still exist.
But those who are skilled enough to navigate cyberspace, hackers like Tick, they have incredible opportunities.
They can infiltrate corporate systems, steal data, manipulate information, all with incredible speed and precision.
Yeah, but there are also those who want to control cyberspace itself, like Continuity.
They see the LF as a way to dominate that digital landscape.
And the stakes are incredibly high because control over cyberspace means control over information, and in this future, information is power.
It's like Gibson's depiction of cyberspace. It's not just this technological marvel. It's a reflection of our own anxieties about the digital world.
Yeah, and our aspirations, too.
Right. As we become more reliant on technology, Mona Lisa Overdrive serves as this cautionary tale.
It's like, hey, be mindful of the potential consequences,
Exactly. Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about Kumiko again.
No, she was sent to London, supposedly for safekeeping.
But it becomes clear pretty quickly that she's caught in the middle of this power struggle.
Involving her father, the mysterious 3 Jane, and, of course, Continuity.
And her journey takes her from, the luxury of Swain's townhouse to the gritty streets of Brixton.
Yeah, huge contrast.
And she meets all these different people who are connected to this larger conspiracy.
Each one playing a role in this unfolding drama.
Like Tick, the hacker, he helps her understand what the Aleph really is, the dangers she's facing.
And then there's Molly, a woman from the Sprawl who's been hired by 3 Jane to gather information about Continuity.
It's like all these different pieces of the puzzle are starting to come together.
And Kumiko's story, it's not just about cyberpunk intrigue. It's also this classic coming-of-age story.
She starts out as this somewhat naive girl, but through her experiences, she becomes stronger, more independent.
She gains this deeper understanding of the world and her place in it.
And that really highlights one of the novel's key themes, this search for identity.
Right, in a world that's constantly changing, where technology blurs the lines between what's real and what's not, the question of who we are becomes even more complex.
And each of the characters in Mona Lisa Overdrive grapples with that question in their own way.
Like Mona, she's searching for a place for herself in a world that doesn't seem to have room for her.
Angie, she's trying to break free from the expectations and manipulations that have defined her life.
And Slick, he's haunted by these fragmented memories, desperately trying to piece together a sense of self.
And Kumiko, she's forced to confront the complexities of her own identity, the legacy of her family.
It's through these individual struggles that Gibson explores the broader human condition, reminding us that even in a future dominated by technology, those fundamental questions of identity, purpose, belonging, they're still at the forefront of our experience.
And another crucial aspect of the novel is this blurring of lines between reality and cyberspace, as the characters go deeper into that digital realm.
The distinction between what's real and what's simulated, it becomes harder and harder to see.
Like we see this most vividly with Slick and Gentry. They use the Aleph to access this world that exists only within the device's data storage.
They encounter Bobby Newmark, the Count, and he seems to be living a simulated life inside the Aleph.
And they witness Angie's consciousness being merged with the device. It's like, whoa, where does reality end and simulation begin?
Exactly, and Gibson's exploration of this theme raises these profound questions about the nature of reality itself.
As technology advances, our lives become more intertwined with the digital world. What happens to our perception of what's real? Do we risk losing ourselves in this sea of information and simulation?
Or can we find new ways to define our identities, our experiences within this constantly evolving landscape? These are questions that Gibson leaves us to ponder, and they're just as relevant today as they were when he wrote the book.
So as we continue our deep dive into Mona Lisa Overdrive, we're going to encounter even more mind-bending concepts, more thought-provoking dilemmas.
Buckle up, listeners, because our journey is far from over.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We left off with Kumiko escaping Swain's control and finding herself, well, I guess you could say in the hands of Tick, the hacker.
Right, and remember her Moz Neotech guide unit, Colin? It's broken.
Yeah, and that's not just a gadget. It's like her connection to her past, to her father.
And Tick, with his mastery of the digital world, he manages to access Colin, but he needs a cyberspace deck.
Giving us another peek into that mesmerizing and kind of unsettling realm.
It's a sensory overload, a landscape of pure data, physical laws. They don't apply there.
And Colin, he acts as her guide through cyberspace.
But their journey isn't just about fixing the guide unit, is it?
No, it's about uncovering the truth about the LF3Jane's motives and the threat of continuity.
And they find a connection to Angie, the celebrity, who, remember, her consciousness is merged with the LF.
Which throws everything into question. I mean, is Angie still herself in there? Or has she become something else entirely?
It raises some huge questions about identity and technology, doesn't it?
Absolutely. What happens to our sense of self when our consciousness is, like, intertwined with a machine?
Does technology enhance our humanity, or could it erase it?
And those questions become even more urgent as we learn more about 3Jane's plans. Her intentions are still so ambiguous.
It's like Gibson wants to keep us guessing, keep us thinking.
He really does. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but the ending. It's both satisfying and deeply unsettling. It doesn't give you easy answers, that's for sure.
It makes you think about the unpredictable nature of technology.
Exactly. And that's what makes Mona Lisa Overdrive so powerful, so enduring. It challenges us to confront the ethical and philosophical implications of our own progress, our own relationship with technology.
It forces us to ask, what kind of future are we creating?
What role do we want technology to play in our lives?
Right. So as we wrap up our deep dive, what are some key takeaways we should keep in mind?
For me, it's a reminder that technology can be a tool for liberation, but also for oppression. It all depends on the choices we make.
We need to be mindful of its power, use it responsibly.
Recognize the potential for progress, but also for peril. We have to actively shape the future we want.
Exactly. Mona Lisa Overdrive doesn't give us all the answers, but it does give us a way to think critically about our relationship with technology.
It encourages us to question assumptions, to stay vigilant as we navigate this ever-evolving landscape.
And if you haven't read Mona Lisa Overdrive yet, we highly encourage you to check it out. We've got a link in the show notes where you can purchase a copy.
Embark on your own journey through this captivating cyberpunk world.
And don't forget to subscribe to the Deep Dive for more explorations into fascinating topics and sources.
We're always on the lookout for the next deep dive, the next opportunity to uncover some hidden knowledge and share it with you.
Until next time, keep those minds open and keep questioning.
Because, as Mona Lisa Overdrive reminds us, the future is full of wonder and uncertainty.